8 o'clock on a Saturday, and it is Artemis Day. How are you? I'm First Warning Meteorologist Eric Burris. This is Coffee Talk. We get together every day, 7 days a week, chat about what's going on in the world of weather, and today certainly all eyes are going to be on Artemis. There is a live look at SLS as crews are actually working through some issues at the moment, which is, oh, that's super fun, right? We will be, of course, keeping you updated on all of those elements. But before we get into anything too deep, let's just see what's doing outside right now on the top two things that we're monitoring. First and foremost, of course, we're watching your Labor Day weekend forecast. We're going to have you covered every step of the way. We are also ready for launch. NASA has given the green light, the go-ahead.
It's 8 a.m. Eastern Time here at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Good morning, I'm Daryl Nail with NASA Communications with an update. We are in the midst of tanking the core stage of the Launch System rocket, set for liftoff today at 2:17 Eastern Time, 2:17 p.m. Eastern Time. This is NASA's moon rocket that is going to send Orion on a flight test around the moon. A little bit less than 38-day mission. This flight test intended to test Orion at lunar return velocity. Get it around the moon, bring it back, test that heat shield, make sure it's safe for humans to use. We are currently working an issue with the liquid hydrogen loading. I'm listening to the launch team now. So there was a leak that developed in the liquid hydrogen supply line at 7:15 this morning. So running behind on loading liquid hydrogen at this point in the operation. We were scheduled to do the engine bleed kickstart. That's on hold. The team currently has a plan to reinitiate the fill of hydrogen. The flow is on the 8-inch quick disc.
All right, so we're going to be continuing to monitor their feed, but essentially what Daryl Nail is explaining is that there was a quick disconnect on the liquid hydrogen side of things, and that quick disconnect warmed up just a little bit. It gave them just a little bit of an indication that there was a subtle leak. So what they've done is they've stopped fueling it. They've given it a half an hour to continue to warm things up, and then they're going to manually start to fill fuel through there. The idea is they want to be able to get it chilled back, and that should reseat that valve. This is a different issue than what we dealt with back earlier in the week for launch attempt number 1. So this is something that crews are certainly going to have to work through, and certainly that's exactly what they're doing. I do want to point out that, you know, I had a couple of people asking me, interestingly enough, why is SpaceX and ULA, why are they not running into these same issues? And it's because they're using different fuels. They're using methane and other fuels, whereas liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen, there's a real balancing act in terms of boiling point. And so because of that, there's a real ballet going on where you can't load too much of one without the other, because the fuel tanks inside the core could actually adjust size, which then throws the whole alignment of everything off. And obviously, you know, everything is very mathematic when it comes to this. So that's what the tap dance is right now. This is very reminiscent of the Space Shuttle program, which also did the same tap dance. And, you know, it'll be interesting to see if down the line, SLS, Artemis, transitions to other fueling sources, or if we're kind of just in this liquid hydrogen, liquid oxygen ballet and tap dance. What you see there on the side of your screen, though, and I want to go back to that full, what you're seeing there is kind of an update for us in terms of percentages of fuel in the core stage between the liquid oxygen side and the liquid hydrogen side. So this is just one of the kind of storyboards that we're following through the course of the day today. Denise, good morning. What time is this supposed to go off? So we're starting a 2-hour launch window at 2:17 today. And certainly we're going to be getting to all of those elements for you. But before we get in too deep, let's just talk a little bit about our normal weather, okay? Because I want to make sure that, yes, we're going to be covering the launch in depth, but of course we also need to be monitoring what's going on locally. So there's a look at SLS Artemis 1 at Launch Complex 39B. But we've got clouds, we've got downpours. Let me take you to our new Smyrna Beach tower cam. There is a beautiful sunrise, but certainly there is plenty of clouds over top. Let me take you toward the metro. There we are. There's the tourist district. Epcot looking good. There's Epcot, of course, off in the distance from our downtown tower cam. Let's listen back into NASA. Just want to make sure we're not missing anything. That was Daryl Nail, by the way, a former broadcaster, but Daryl Nail is doing the kind of play-by-play commentary, and I'm going to leave the audio up. That way, in the event that he has an update for us, we can live listen in together. But for now, let's take a look and see what's doing. Temperatures across Central Florida on a Saturday, because even if you're not paying close attention to what's going on with the launch, it's still a holiday weekend after all, right? Temperatures in the mid-70s for Leesburg, mid-70s in Ocala, upper 70s here in Orlando. And first warning, live Doppler radar. Here's a shot. It's interesting, you know, there's that cluster of storms just off the coast of Volusia County, and I just want to lapse this. Those storms, when we arrived at the Space Coast this morning, had us a little on edge because there was a lot of lightning flashing in the distance. Thankfully, this was all just that. It was all off in the distance. It was more than 30 miles offshore. And through the entirety of our broadcast here in the bottom right corner of the screen there, I'm going to keep the satellite and the radar up so that you can see the launch weather as well, and the countdown timer as well. But you can see there's plenty of lightning there. That is still green on the range for good weather, so that is still go weather. So let's look and see what we're talking about here, shall we? Here's a look at that 12-hour launch, kind of 12-hour forecast for everything, not just for the launch, okay? And I'll bring it full for you, but you can very clearly see we're looking good, right? 85 by 11 o'clock, a few popcorn showers, a few popcorn downpours starting in around lunchtime, and then continuing to evolve 5, 6, 7 o'clock, 40, 50% coverage of showers and thunder showers. So there you go, right? With those showers and storms around, definitely something that we're going to be watching for you through the day today. In terms of the official launch forecast coming in from the folks over at the Cape, we're starting with a 60% chance of good weather, and we're going to eventually go to an 80% chance of good weather. Here's that launch forecast. No, we're on. All right. Had a little hiccup in the data. There you go. It's a moving vehicle, so that's the way it goes. But the big question is going to be, when those downpours develop, will they move in quick enough and get away from the launch pad? That's, of course, going to be our big concern monitoring. So definitely one of those things that we're going to be keeping eyes peeled on. But for those of us watching the launch, aside from a quick downpour firing up, I actually think we're going to be looking pretty good, right? 88 by lunchtime. A few of those downpours around, those showers and storms move inland, though, for that launch window itself. That launch window opening up at 2:17 and running for 2 hours time. Okay, Anna says we're losing you. Yep, we should have me back by now. Juan, good morning. Kevin, who's riding with me today? Well, we have, in addition to the crew, we have a stowaway this morning. We have meteorologist Cam Tran joining us in the front seat. Oh, it's locked. Yeah, it's locked down. And even if it isn't locked down, it'd be hard for me to pop that camera up without messing with the router. But Cam Tran is here. I will tell you this. I will get Cam Tran on a broadcast hit. Hold on one second. While I'm looking at this, I am realizing that my inset is incorrect. Stand by, people. This is the whole producing on the fly thing. Here, while we're chatting, you can look at the beautiful sights of the weather lab itself. We're heading over toward our meeting point, which is going to get us on the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. But while I'm trying to fix this radar, it should be working. Interesting that it's not. Did we lose our live radar?
Is it still down from last night?
No, you know what it is? Oh, I see what it is. It's just out of range. That's all it is. The showers are out of range. Okay. No, it's not. Thankfully, it's not still down from last night. Okay. All right. Sorry about that hiccup. You know, you're diagnosing things on the fly. It is what it is. At any rate, here's our location with the Weather Lab. We're on our way to our meeting point to get on
the core stage. LOX team, liquid oxygen team, reporting that they have now satisfied the aft strut constraint. So they are proceeding ahead with full pump speed on the LOX side. As you can see in the graphic there, they're currently 36% filled, while over on the liquid hydrogen side, they are manually filling at a much slower rate to ease into that that transfer, so that in hopes that QD will hold over on the hydrogen side. Currently, it's at 3%. Again, the aft strut constraint, 50% LOX, 5% hydrogen. They're on target to satisfy that constraint.
Okay, that's a big deal, because what that's going to mean is that they will be able to continue the liquid oxygen tanking while they're working through an issue on the liquid hydrogen side. So that's a big deal. That puts us much more on par than perhaps we would have been if that aft strut constraint was not able to be satisfied. Then they would have had to slow down the core stage liquid oxygen fill, and thus we would have really started